Give me a second.
Yeah, trendsetter. Whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center. Hit it dead center. Bullseye, hit it the most, is no misses. Something like fish in a barrel, it's no dip.
Boom! Did I get it right that time?
Yep.
Welcome back, everyone. Week 2 of the 26th season, episode 104. Happy Wednesday night. To my numero uno, first off, Pedro, how are things?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Would you say you are doing better or worse than the Angle cases decided to join us in tonight?
I think I'm doing much better.
Much better. Okay, me too. I agree. Low bar. Like Ines' roster this past week. Case. Hey, buddy.
What's up, man? How you doing?
How we feeling? Tough loss, Bri.
I mean,
super relaxed, man. Super relaxed. Underperformed and still only lost by less than a point. My team will bounce back.
I love to hear it. Hey, week 1, fun week 1, terrible week 1 in the NFL. What an awful week for football.
What games did you watch? Did you red zone it or did you watch games? Yeah,
I red zoned.
I stayed off red zone for the Pats game because I actually had the opportunity to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're as engaging as they've been in a couple of years. So, like, I like that slot. But after that, it didn't seem like there's a lot of touchdowns going on for the red zone 4 o'clock slot, those 4 games.
Pats look tough. I like it. I thought they were hitting hard. I thought they played tough. That looked good. I watched it on YouTube TV with the 4 screen, like the quad box. And it was a little distracting. I had the sound from the Patriots game and the other 4. And then by the end of the day, I had the same red zone thing where I have no idea what happened. I was like, don't you guys feel that? Like at the end of the day, you watched every game, but like you're like, I have no idea what happened. Yeah. I have to watch highlights. Yes. I'm shocked when I watch highlights.
Yeah, I did 1 o'clock. We didn't down here. We didn't have the Pats on. It was either the Giants and the Vikings, which I didn't watch, or the red zone. And the 4 o'clock games I was in and out of. The only game I watched most of was the night game until you started to come back, so I went to bed.
Good game.
Good game.
Was that part of like Sunday Ticket that you have on YouTube TV to get the quad box, or is that something different?
Yeah, it was. They offered it for like the first week for free.
Gotcha.
Wish I'd known that because maybe I would have watched Pats. Well, we had week 1. Let's recap week 1 a little bit. Let's get into the weeds. Let's talk about some games. Pete, what sort of stats do you want to start off with?
Oh, I got them all. I got the beast of the week, boom of the week. I can do.
Let's go. Pete, week 1 recap. Lead it up.
If you like Jaden Reed, this is your segment. Beast of the week. You guys want to guess?
Jaden Reed.
Yeah, it was. 44 points. That goes to Breen. Good for him. Breen gets the beast of the week. Wait, I'm starting out of order. Why'd I do that out of order? My fault.
Boom. Forgot the boom.
Yeah, well, all right, we'll get the beast out of the week first. Hey, it's week 1 for me too. All right. So beast of the week was
the boom.
Jalen Reed, and then second place was Saquon with 39 points. Mike also had that in a win. Cooper Kupp, 35 points, was in third. Casey helping you to the loss. Good for you. All right, boom of the week. Let's talk about this. This should be the headliner going forward. Boom of the week was Kevin Breen, 167. It was his second boom ever. So good for him. Only boomed back 1 other time. Yeah.
Where is he on boom standings? Is anybody worse than him?
Yeah, Spates only boomed once.
No, that classic.
Yeah. Last time Breen boomed, don't try saying that. Last time Breen boomed was week 2 of 2022. So been a long time. Wow. 167 would have been the 3rd lowest boom last year. So it was a pretty bad one.
It was ugly sledding out there.
Going long. Any guesses?
Ooh, there was a long one. Tyreek had a long one.
Yeah.
Is Tyreek
Hill number 1? It was 80 yards.
Anthony Richardson threw one to Pierce. That was a long one.
That was a long. That didn't make my top 3 though, or maybe it did. I only look at a couple of these because I get kind of tired. Jalen Reed had a 70-yard pass and
34-yard pass. Hey, I saw that game. I don't know.
Why do you only look at a couple of them?
I get tired. I'll get old. Hey, not all of us could lay down during a podcast. That's. I mean, geez. Some of us actually have to show up and do some research. Every graphic you see is because of me, you lazy.
Well,
All right,
I
so
think you did some research because your team wasn't doing anything.
all right, yeah, ride these coattails. All right, so J.K. Dobbins was 61-yard rush. Jalen Reed 70-yard pass, but Tyreek Hill 80-yard pass. That was the longest. Good for him, right? Yeah, that's it.
So. Hey, Tyreek, by the way, kind of wild.
Yeah, a hell of a day. Not gonna lie, hell of a day.
What a day. All right, let's do some game by games recap. Game of the week ended up being one of the closest games in the history of the league. So game of the week, the chosen ones eke out a victory, less than 1 point. Takes down the defending champ Jumbos, came down to overtime on Sunday night where Case got goose-egged somehow. Pete, we do stats per game, right? I'm off my game as well, right?
I'm just going to talk. Yeah, Mike over Case by just a point for the people at home, 136 to 135. Mike avenging a Super Bowl loss previously. Casey, congratulations on being the biggest loser. You are the person with the highest score that lost. That sucks. Huge performance by Saquon. I think it was interesting how they featured him. I think that is a good sign for Mike going forward. Cooper Kupp, same, kind of fell back asswards into a really good situation. So Richardson ended up being the difference. Mike, I didn't believe in you all offseason. Richardson was the difference, got you the W, and a win now counts the same as a win later. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Case, give me your thoughts on the game. I told you I was worried about Cleveland. Amari dropped your victory, but analyze the game, analyze the roster. Where do you feel more confident, aka Kupp and Puka, and where are you feeling concerned?
My biggest concern with my team is I'm dealing with a lot of quarterback instability for my high-end players. So Darnold, super efficient, not a lot of yards with Jefferson. The situation in Vegas with Devontae Adams and Minshew was not extremely effective. St. Brown had a flop, and when they went to overtime, it's one catch, one more catch, and I make this happen. So it was disappointing to see that happen with them because they just decided to run the ball a ton. You called it, Mike. One too many Browns, right? I should have listened to you and made that substitution. I'm dealing with a little bit of quarterback instability on my team and trying to figure out with Love going down what's going to happen because Herbert did not sling it around on Sunday.
Go get Baker.
I thought about it, Pete. Honestly, I thought about it.
You want Dak?
I'm not panicking. It's still early. In fact, I came in. I'm in fifth, so I'm all right.
2027 if you want.
You want Dak? I offered a great trade today. I offered Dak to somebody, by the way. Awesome trade. Turned down instantaneously. Case, Cooper Kupp was scary. The Cooper Kupp Stafford stack on Sunday night was scary. I didn't like your Brown start before the weekend, and I certainly didn't like the Brown start after the weekend. My team's in a weird spot early on. Saquon looked incredible. Offense of the Eagles really was built around him. I told you guys Richardson's something different. He only completed 9 passes and he got 30 points. That's, I think, the sort of upside you get with a running quarterback who's going to score a lot of points.
I don't think he has figured out yet, Mike.
What'd you say?
I don't think the league's got him figured out yet.
Case, the crazy thing about it, again, watching Red Zone, I had every game on. There was a 3-play sequence where he missed Donnie Mitchell, however you say that guy's name, for a wide open touchdown. Missed him by 10 yards. And then he threw the next play a horrible interception. So I was like, he just literally had a 10-point swing because he missed the wide open receiver and then threw a pick the next play. But then he comes down and he gets 80 yards rushing and a touchdown, and that's what happened. Puka is troublesome. Christian Watson's troublesome now without Love. Higgins is going to be troublesome. And I have 2 Panthers in their offense. Feels like it's a total disarray. So I'm a little lucky to get a week 1 win. It's good to get a win versus a loss. I think there's going to have to be some pretty good coaching over the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to say it, I think I have the best quarterback room in the league. Challenge me and tell me I'm wrong. I'd take my 2 over anybody else's. Who's better? Whose quarterbacks are better than mine?
Who do you have?
I have Richardson and Dak, dude.
Maybe
Kyler and Goff.
No, I would never trade you 2 for 2. Never.
Lamar
would ever ask you. Hey, Mike, you have a plant behind you?
Yeah.
What's going on there?
It's a plant in the purple wall.
Is it a real plant?
Nope.
Yeah, what's going on there? You got a fake plant next to your shower curtain now?
Is it a bonsai?
What are you, a Buddhist? What's going on there?
Are you trying to do some Miyagi stuff?
No, it's just, ambiance. Makes me feel like I'm with nature.
Please blur.
Speaking of ambiance, let's go to game number 2. I had to check Pete's little thingy from last week, but it was DeVito versus Jeff. The pod did not pick this one well, but we got a recap nonetheless. DeVito shows up big time with his Stars versus Scrubs model and takes down Innis. Pete, give us the recap.
Yeah, Steve over Jeff, 132 to 123. I think my big takeaway from this game was that I was watching the Ravens game, obviously closely, one of the most popular games of the week. I didn't really feel like Lamar had a very good game, but then when you look at the box score at the end of the day, he has 32 points, and I think that is a heck of a sign. I'm going to keep this PG. Heck of a sign for DeVito that he can still have a pretty poor game and have a high ceiling.
Pete, is there any buzz in Baltimore about Lamar running too much?
No, not now. And honestly, I think, and I can get into this further, but I think that this week is going to be a Derrick Henry show. Like, they're going to showcase him. This is their new guy. They're at home first. But anyway, we can get into that later. Tyreek Hill, for DeVito, he had 34 points. Imagine how well he would have done if he wasn't racially profiled before the game. That would have been amazing. Pollard seems to be the difference in this one. Only 19 points, but there was no timeshare between him and Tajay Spears. I think that's a big win for DeVito. Might only been 19 points, but Pollard got the majority of the carries. So good one for Steve.
I think we might have underestimated the top of DeVito's roster. When you can get carried by 3 guys who score 100 points, it makes a pretty big difference. They won't score 100 week to week, but the Lamar, Tyreek, A.J. Brown trifecta at the top of the roster certainly separated them. He somehow picked up Likely in the middle of the game, which makes me feel like there was some tomfoolery with the Yahoo thing, but I'm not going to get into it. Steve can defend himself when he gets back. Innis's roster didn't actually have that bad of a game. I think you just look at it, you got a couple big question marks, not from players, but from offenses that might be hard for Jeff. Like the Tank Dell thing, is he going to be the third option in their receiving core? Joe Mixon had the ball 35 times. Like, what's Houston's offense, though effective, going to look like? And McLaren was a problem. McLaren was a big problem because Jaden Daniels doesn't know how to throw the ball. Huge game from Jordan Mason doesn't hurt McCaffrey. We'll see if he can repeat that week to week. I think DeVito's got to be feeling good. Case, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, the Mason play obviously, kind of made it 1-for-1 a little bit with McCaffrey being out. Like I think we're all high on Innis last week. I think we all picked him in the Super Bowl because it's McCaffrey's the best player and he wasn't available. He still put up a competitive week. I was encouraged by Pickens' use in the Steelers offense with Fields as the quarterback, who obviously is, probably not getting all the first team reps. So see how that tracks for him to sort of maybe deepen his roster. But you're right. I think a lot of the teams, when we go across matchup by matchup, we're going to see less where it's like some of their better players play well, but I don't think anybody had a real complete top to bottom performance outside of maybe Breen, who boomed. Like, and again, it was the third lowest boom of what would have been last year. So I don't think anybody sort of saw a deep starting roster performance here. So it'll be interesting to see how this trends. But I think DeVito's going to need those 3 to be what they were this week to have a shot. Because I still don't like his depth.
Me neither. But let's get to Breen's. I haven't even really looked at the scores. Let's get to the Boom Boys. So Breen over Lloyd, one of the weirdest compositions of a Boom team scoring that I think I've ever seen. But Pete, give us the recap on the game. Breen booms for the first time in 2 years, takes down Lloyd. Recap it for us.
Yeah, Breen over Lloyd, 167 to 133. Breen taking it home immediately after I picked him to finish 10th in the league. So good for him.
Pete on his game. Pete in midseason form. This is beautiful.
Kevin making me look bad. 5 out of 8 of Breen's players scored over 24 points. That is huge. That's the most in the league by far. Lloyd had some problems, but 133 is a pretty respectable score. The problems that he had, quarterback, needs another playmaker. He has the bench depth. I can barely speak. The bench depth to address it. So I think he will be fine. I think brighter days will be ahead for him.
Case, I don't think Lloyd coached this game particularly well. And Kevin had 2 guys who combined for 4 points, and he still boomed. So take a look at this game. Do you feel like Lloyd is going to slip into panic mode? And do you think Breen has an opportunity to ride a little momentum and get off to a harder start than we expected.
No, I mean, I think this is sort of a script for Lloyd, all this talent and trying to figure out how to make it work in terms of his roster decisions. Pulling Chase was probably the right move. Like watching that dude on Sunday, watching the whole Pats game, that dude was absolutely – he got penalized for like complaining on the sidelines but happened to be in play to get 12 men on the field on the offense.
Would
like,
you guys have benched Chase, though? Would you have benched Chase?
I probably wouldn't have. I don't think I'd had the stones to do it, but it was the right move.
Yeah.
So give him credit for that, I guess.
For Lloyd. 0 for 3 on us having enough balls to do that.
Yeah, I did pick Breen. So, this went the way that I thought it was going to go, I guess, but I didn't think Breen was going to boom. So the Jalen Reed thing was obviously and Allen getting the rushing touchdowns and them not featuring any of their running backs down in the red zone, I thought was interesting if that trend holds.
He made a couple of good plays. And Breen may have a better quarterback room than me, but he's really the only person because of Josh Allen.
Honestly, Breen's franchise known for a strong quarterback room.
That's true.
For years. Yeah, for years.
Funnily enough, if you told me before week 1 Breen would boom, I would have assumed Marvin Harrison went off. Yeah. I would have assumed, Harrison had a huge game. He boomed and Harrison did nothing. I think good
Jalen Reed.
Good pod calls on Casco and Jalen Reed to boom. And I told you guys, Ramondre. I like Stevenson. They have nobody else in that backfield. I still think Lloyd has to be feeling pretty good about his team. I spoke to Dan. We actually had a nice 30-minute phone call the other day reminiscing about old high school basketball. And I told him he has a massive quarterback problem. I don't know why he did this 2 years ago. I don't think you guys remember this. He had Mac Jones on his roster for 6 weeks 2 years ago. 6 weeks. And he got Caleb Williams. I'm like, dude.
Jets too. What was the other guy in the Jets?
I'm like, dude, Zach Wilson. I said to him, like, Lloyd, why don't you just drop Caleb Williams? He's like, no, he's got upside. I'm like, what? Are you going to play him? So what are you going to rely on Trevor Lawrence? Who can't? I don't know. I still think Dan's in overthinking mode. He's kind of forgotten he's supposed to make the playoffs. So Dan, if you're supposed to make the playoffs, let's try to win some games. That's all I'm going to say. Just win some games first.
Supposed to win the league, number 1 seed.
Jeez. Speaking of number 1 seed in our hearts, Andy DeVita. Game number 4, DeVita and Didarian. Pretty good game from a proximity. Pretty bad game for point totals. Pete, give us the recap. I can't remember.
I actually don't have much to say about this. I can save us some time here. Christian over Andy, 125-107. It was a disappointing game for Andy. The Kelsey Mahomes stack didn't hit. And when it doesn't hit, it goes bad for him. Christian turned 40 and he got the win. Congratulations. Good for you. Andy, this was the kind of game that Andy would have won in 2022. Jameson Williams on his bench. That seemed to be a big swing and a miss. I don't know. That was his first draft pick. I know because I was targeting Jameson at that time. So to draft him, not play him, might have cost him a W, but either way, that was a good win by Christian.
Case, is this problems to come with Andy and the Chiefs' potential spread out offense? I don't know what's going on with my camera, guys.
Just put your hand in front of it or something, right? What's the matter with you?
I think DeVita's going to fall back to the pack a little bit. He's really relying on that. The one bright spot, obviously, Diggs' spot in the new offense, but it was really touchdown dependent. So, yeah, that looks worse.
This doesn't even make sense.
It's so your background's a better focus than your face.
Does it not know that I'm right here? I'm like right here. Why is it doing this?
The plant is in better focus. This kid's like she's in HD.
Why is it doing this?
Put your Miyagi tree in the front of you and see what happens.
You work from there.
Okay. Okay, ready?
The plant's in better focus.
I'm gonna die. Oh my god.
I don't know why this is happening. This doesn't happen when maybe it's this app. I don't know.
No, it's definitely not.
There we go. All right, that's it. That's it. I got nothing else for this game. We'll talk about these guys' teams in a second. What was the last game? Pete, you were the last game. You deserved it. Your team stunk. Give us the recap with you in space.
Spades beats me 143 to 93. This was the biggest blowout of the week. I'm sorry. One shining spot for my team was Chris Godwin. Thank you. Chris Godwin's been on my week one roster since 2019. I make a lot of moves. Chris Godwin's been there since the beginning. He has been traded, but he has always come back to me for week one. Mixon goes bananas. I didn't see that coming. I don't think it's very long until CJ is in first place.
Put Kyler in, Pete. That's all I'm going to say. Case, anything you want to say to the team?
Kyler's in. Look at my roster.
No, he wasn't in last week. You played golf last week.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kyler's in this week. Well, I can't go back.
I know you can't go back. Case, anything to say? Nothing?
Keep going.
All right, Case, you're up next because you had to do some picks.
Bench was awesome. CJ's
What?
bench was awesome.
Coach.
CJ's bench was awesome.
Who?
Oh, God.
CJ's bench was awesome.
That's your analysis. Get out of here.
Xavier Worthy, Jaden Daniels, Rashid Shaheed, Brian Robinson Jr. They all scored big points. Pete could use any of those guys.
We'll get some thoughts on these guys' teams when we do the week 2 preview. I promise, Spates. We'll talk about you, even though you never listen to the podcast. Yeah.
He listens to it.
He listens to it. Case, give us our picks in superlative rundown. You don't need to text the recruit at a moment. Like, just give us your undivided attention for 15 more minutes.
I got this for you. Hold on. I made this. So if you look at this, here's all of our picks. I think I might have got this right. So
Pete,
like
1 and 4.
Yeah, and the only one I won, I picked against myself, which
Pete had a really bad week.
But honestly, I made this because the way Casey runs through this absolutely drives me nuts. So
no, yeah, this looks better.
Casey, if you want to talk and give your recap over it, we can do that.
Good idea.
This is easier to read. Yeah, this is much
I'm telling you because I'm definitely not doing this every single week.
In the weekly pick'em, beat Chat GPT. We had a tie between artificial intelligence, Casey, Kaleli, and DeVito, all 3 and 2.
There you go.
The number one picker this week goes to Case because I got 2 and 1 in the superlatives. I hit the upset with Breen and I hit the lock with Spates. Nobody cashed in on the boom.
What? Oh yeah, look, all the booms. See in the CJ
0
one.
boom. It's color coded and it's highlighted on my spreadsheet.
I like it. Okay, this makes way more sense with Casey explaining it.
Having the visual, I'm a visual guy. This is much more helpful for me. Interestingly enough, the big upset case, me, you, and ChatGPT all had Breen over Lloyd. Maybe it wasn't as big of an upset as we thought.
No, you're right. All 3 picked the upset. All 3 cashed in. Although ChatGPT did not have it as its upset.
No, they had Steve. They love Steve. ChatGPT loves Steve.
ChatGPT nailed the upset though. Steve with the upset, but they were a little ballsy with the Andy lock. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Looking back, usually we don't hit the upset as much as we hit our other categories. Boom is locks the most hit. Boom and upset are second and third, but we had 3 hit it this week, so that's maybe a sign of things to come.
Wow, right. I find that fascinating. Okay, so maybe we'll do this. We'll do this every week, right?
I like that, Pete. I love the graphic. If you're following us on YouTube, chime in, give us your thoughts, and if you're listening to us on a podcast, start to watch us on YouTube because it's a much better experience.
You see this.
To see Case's profile. All right, everyone. Week 2. Here we go. Weirdest thing I noticed in our week 2 preview.
Yeah.
We have 0 games with a 1-0 versus 1-0 and 0 games with an 0-1 versus an 0-1.
That's interesting.
Every game has a 1-0 versus an 0-1.
I hope that doesn't lead to like future parity in the league. Like I really hope we're not all meshed at 8 and 7 trying to figure this out.
Theoretically, we could be 1-1 everybody after this week, which is kind of cool.
That's a good theory. That's a good theory, Pete. Would you say that because everybody's getting better or everybody's getting worse?
Well, I mean, it's just the way the early schedule shaked out, really. I mean, it has nothing really to do with, I don't know, If I go 1-1, I'll be ecstatic. Let's start there.
You go 1-1, I'll be surprised too.
You're not the game of the week. Wrong holographic. Week 2 preview. Game of the week. Our number 1 seed off his boom, Kevin Breen takes on last year's champ. Our top loser, 1 seed, 6 seed, Breen versus Case. Pete, give us the preview and the pick.
All right, here's the deal. It's Breen. He's the number 1 seed. He's also the number 1 team in scoring. Casey, the number 6 seed. He's actually the number 4 team in scoring. Okay. When I look at the rosters, I look at the Buffalo Bills players, which Kevin Breen has Josh Allen and Shakir. I really hate Buffalo at Miami. I'm going to make this a ongoing trend for the entire season for the podcast. Teams playing in Miami in September and October bake under that sun. They cannot hang. It is you can Google it. The Dolphins go out there and they wear the white jerseys. They make the team wear the colored jerseys. The Buffalo Bills have gone so far as to bring air-conditioned benches into Miami Stadium because they cannot hang. I think that is going to be affect Allen, which is Breen's quarterback. I really love Stafford and Kupp. I think they're going to pick up where they left off in Arizona, so that benefits Case. Case, I like everything about your roster. I don't like those 2 Browns at the end. We talked about that. We earlier you mentioned it. I think if Casey could switch those up, I'm going to take him. This would technically be an upset, so I will take Casey as the 6 seed over the 1.
Pete, I'm going to ask follow-up question.
Yeah.
It's weather related. I like this theory. I want to probe into it a little more. Does the fact that it is a night game change that?
Oh, is it a night game?
Thursday night, tomorrow night. So does the night, and I will say, does that same analysis hold for games at Jacksonville and games at Tampa Bay in September and October?
So I really do feel like Jacksonville, when you looked at it in week 1, they were playing in Miami. They were able to adjust. Everything was fine. Florida teams seemed to be okay there. I was thinking, the Patriots and the Bills both take extra precautions going down to Miami because they cannot hang in the heat. Being a night game, I forgot that it was Thursday night. That is much different, obviously. Honestly, though, it's still going to be the season opener for Miami. They're going to be, I believe this is their first game at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second game. They were home last week. Remember Tyreek got pulled over in Miami?
Man, I can't get anything right. Well, barring Tyreek Hill getting arrested on the way to the arena, I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm still going to go with it.
It's a good analysis because I looked at Case's roster. Do you know who plays at Jacksonville on Sunday?
Who?
The Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
And so, Case, I'll go to you and I'll bring you in. We can talk about it from a humidity perspective or a disappointment perspective. Are you going to roll the dice and keep both Browns in there? Ford good usage, Cooper good target share, or do we go to the bench and try to get some exposure to a different roll of the dice?
Yeah, going into this week, I just played my highly projected lineup for the matchup. I am making moves. I'm actually keying in on what Mike has to say because he was pretty locked in last week on some of my potential moves as well as some other teams around the league. So I might be influenced. I'm probably taking out Cooper. Watson's in shambles. He's dealing with another civil lawsuit off the field. There's talk out of Sports Talk Radio that he can't read defenses. He's slow to read all this stuff like he doesn't care. I got to sort of see maybe Cooper do it. I like the bump from Kupp with Nakua out. I think Evans is becoming as reliable as there is with Baker chucking it. I do think Amon-Ra is going to have a bounce back week. I think they're going to look at that and say, man, we got to get this guy the ball more. But I think like Jefferson, Adams, and some of those other things are going to, keep me from pulling away from Breen. But I'm going to take myself, and I'm going to take myself to lock this week. I'm going to get myself evened up at 1-1.
Ooh, he's locking and underside.
I don't see what other choices you have at the moment, Case. I don't personally want to play Amari Cooper. I don't really want pieces of Deshaun Watson. The guy had 9 targets last week, and he dropped a 40-yard touchdown that would have been but I don't know quite where you go. Like, I guess if it's Shane and Mostert don't play, you could throw Wilson in there. I'm not a big tight end guy as much as I like Kittle. There's too many mouths to feed there. And I wouldn't go with a rookie yet. So unless you're going to dip back into the waiver wire, I think this is the roster you kind of have to play, and your hand is a bit forced early in the season. So I don't think there's much analysis on your end.
We're tracking a couple things.
Kevin's is interesting. I don't know if he's purposely doing it this way, but this is now the second week in a row where he's bringing some of his big swings out. in the Thursday night or Friday night game. And I do think it's quite curious that if Buffalo comes out of the gates fast and Allen connects with Shakir and he gets up to a 60-point lead or something, because Josh Allen goes crazy again, if I'm Case, I might look at this differently. I think you've got a little bit too much, and Waddle's Thursday night as well. There's just a little too much variance with Kevin. I think just if I look, bring things back to the mean, you're not going to get a week like that from Jaden Reed again. I don't think you'll get a week like that from Harrison again. Odunze appears to be out, and I just don't think he quite has the firepower. Top of Case's roster is really good. I'm going to take Case. For the sake of this, I'll give it an upset. I'll give Case an upset pick again. I know it's 6 overall, but I think Case is in a pretty good spot to take down Breen and go both of these teams to 1-1.
All right, I got a question. When Breen is good, it's very clearly Breen's year. Like, there have been years where he makes the playoffs and he's the number 1 seed. There have been years where he makes the playoffs as, a 4 seed and ends up winning it. Anyway, there's very defined timelines where Breen is good, and there's very, very defined timelines when Breen is bad, and then we've seen that more recently. Is Breen gonna be good this year? Is he a playoff team, would you say, week 1?
No.
Kevin, Kevin. Sorry, Brian. I'm thinking of your brother. Do you believe it?
I do think that there's an interesting combination between Allen, Waddle, and Nico Collins. Like, Waddle's interesting with the Tyreek Hill dynamic in their offense, but does Nico Collins take another step into the upper echelon of wide receivers? Because he is CJ Stroud's favorite target in that target-rich offense. So I'd be interested to see that, because if he might go as those 3 guys go.
I think next year we could see that sort of season for Breen. A couple more first-round picks and more maturity out of more maturity out of Odunze and Harrison. I don't think this is the year. Too much uncertainty.
I want to see it. I started to believe it, although I did predict him to come in 10th, so I can't really jump on the bandwagon.
I don't think he's coming. His team's nice.
Yeah.
You need him to come in 10th just so you don't.
My eyebrows are raised.
DeVito picked you
to boom and as the lock.
To boom and a luck. He could have given you the triple threat and given you the upset. Let's get ChatGPT on the board. ChatGPT picks Kevin Breen over Brian Casey.
Against the grain.
And locked it.
Wow.
Wow. Hater.
I hate this. Them.
Hater.
Them. It. All right. Well, thanks, ChatGPT. Some bold predictions from Elon Musk. Speaking of bold, game number 2. I shouldn't say bold, both balding though. Spates, Andy, 2 seed, 9 seed. Pete, give us the preview.
Well, Spates, the number 2 seed. He is number 2 in scoring in the league. Andy's the number 9 seed. He's number 9 in scoring. So rare case where it actually works out week 1. The Mahomes-Kelsey stack is the key in this matchup. In 2023, last season, it hit 5 times. DeVita did not do well, as opposed to in 2022, it hit 13 times and he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that is the key here. And when you really put yourself in Sunday, when you really think about it, Kansas City, Cincinnati is going to be the 4:00 game. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, you're going to be settling in after the 1:00 games. It's a nationwide game, except in Baltimore. We get the Steelers and the Broncos. Thank you very much. But everybody else in the world gets Kansas City. And I kind of feel like they are going to showcase Mahomes, Kelsey, give me some touchdowns to get the popular people cooking there. I think another game that's it's going to be interesting is the Ravens. Las Vegas played directly across the street. I think the Ravens are going to own that game, and I think that is going to be a Derrick Henry game where he is heavily used, heavily involved. If you cannot see where I'm leaning, it is heavily towards my cousin. Daniels, Gibbs, Olave, I'm not 100% ready to trust them, even though they outscored majority of the players on my team. I'm going to go with Andy, and I'm going to pick him because he is the king of boom. And give me DeVita in the boom.
Whoa, what a bold statement. So, Case, let's follow the thread. I think Pete went down a good angle on Andy. Let's get your thoughts on Spates. And I have 2 things I want you to hone in on a bit. We're already pivoting off a quarterback. We're seeing Jaden Daniels subbed in for Tua. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And I think the second thing is he's going back to the exact same lineup. Like, he's made a quarterback change and kept everything else the same. So he's now saying, different than last year where he was ping pong Magoo, he's now saying, this is the guys. I'm going to lock in. What do you think about that strategy to stay consistent? And what do you think about the move to change quarterback?
I actually like the move for quarterback. I think Jaden Daniels and not slinging around, they showed the value of him running. He ran 2 touchdowns. They're willing to expose him to some hits to get him some of that volume. So running quarterbacks do well in our league. So I actually like the move there and the commitment there by him. Similar to some of the things that I saw with my roster, I think CJ will get some sort of swing backs in his favor, particularly with like Olave getting force fed a little bit. I think you'll see a bounce back there. I think Kyron Williams will benefit from Puka being out and being a little bit more involved in the Rams game plan, and he's a pretty high profile player. And then Gibbs got a ton of volume last week with Detroit. Like, are they going to be a little bit more, back yard focused this year and less on the perimeter with some of those younger guys to open that up? So I actually like CJ this week. I think this one's going to be tight. I think Andy gets some of that bounce back stuff that Pete was talking about, but I think that Spates will edge it out. And I think someone's going to be the Giants game. Like, it's hard to trust Singletary. That offense is abysmal, but maybe Neighbors catches one bomb, and that's the separator for me. So I'm taking Spates, no superlatives.
It's funny. Washington's defense is awful. These guys have a piece against it and could have a little double stack bring back with Jaden Daniels on the other side. Spates' team's good, dude. I was looking at his roster, and the piece I was surprised I didn't see in there, a little bit of my question, Brian Robinson had 18 touches or something like that. I just don't know who I would sub him in over. We didn't even mention Devonta Smith or Deebo Samuel. And I thought Deebo was a guy who, without McCaffrey, doesn't seem like he's playing again. We forgot when he plays how good he is. I think Spates' team is going to be tough to beat over the next couple weeks. And Andy's got some thin spots. Aaron Jones looked good, but San Fran's defense is just as good. Everybody in that Green Bay offense, I think, is going to suffer without Love. I'm taking Spates. I'm going back-to-back booms. I think one of these weeks CJ is going to get it, and I'm going to take CJ to boom in week number 2. Yes, Pete?
2 things I need to talk about. One, I think that Spates' lack of a quarterback is going to be an issue quickly. And it's something that can be addressed very easily. You can look at the waiver wire and do all this type of stuff. But I do think the one thing holding him, I picked him as a Super Bowl team. I picked him as a playoff team. And I think he's going to be the number 1 seed right now, or very soon. The quarterback play is alarming. And the quarterback that he's trotting out there can be easily addressed. Anyway, the one thing that I have a question about is, what's the deal with having 2 Commanders running backs and playing neither of them? Why not, like, either play one of them or give up on the whole experiment? Or I don't know. Like, I have hand to God, I've reached out to him about Eckler. I've reached out to him about trying to do different trades or whatever. And to see them both on his bench, it's just kind of like, why carry 2?
Huh.
I don't know.
You and I have different takes on Spates' team. I actually don't mind what he's doing with the Commanders running backs, because I don't know if he yet knows which one will. To me, Brian Robinson's obviously the better running back, and I would play him with Eckler there. My guess is he's saying, I have a running quarterback. If one of those backs is out, I have an automatic play.
See, I've said to him, and we've had this discussion, where I think Eckler is going to be super valuable this year. They're a bad team. They throw a lot. He's a physical freak. He will be around for the year. And so I've mentioned it a couple times, and he agrees with me. It's just you're stuck in this weird, you have both. I don't know.
That's Pete. One of the reasons why I like his roster is at the moment it doesn't matter. He doesn't need to put him in.
Matter. Yeah, that's what's weird and kind of scary for all of us.
Right.
I like it because he controls that entire entity in a sense, right? So if one guy goes out, he has that backfield, but he's in win now mode. So he's controlling that backfield. And I actually agree with the patient play. It's a new coaching staff, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback. Like, he has the luxury of waiting that out with the depth of his roster, that he's in a spot of strength where he can move some pieces later if he needs to. But right now, I think he's doing a good job of holding on to that piece. If anything, Mike, you put in Robinson, who might give you a little bit higher floor than the Neighbors. Like, that might be the one spot to put him in there if he had to make that move. But I actually like the strategy as well.
Yep. And Ken Walker, questionable this week, so he could even have Charbonnet as an option if you want to throw somebody else in there. Well done by Spates last couple of years to put this roster together. Now can the coaching get him over the hump? We'll see. We'll see if he can beat Ange in week 2. Big 4:00 game. Pete, I think you hit that one nicely with the Chiefs and the Bengals. Good luck, Andy. Good luck, CJ.
I have Andy. Casey, who do you have?
I have Spates, no superlatives.
Mike.
I have Spates to boom.
And what's
DeVito has DeVita in the upset.
Ooh.
ChatGPT has DeVita in the upset over Space.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Mike,
Wow,
we're
ChatGPT.
going against the AI this week.
Even though Spates is 1-0, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have a strong chance to lead a bounce-back game for Team DeVita.
That's what I said. I'm artificial
Despite
intelligence.
DeVita's previous loss, Mahomes, Jacobs, and Kelce offer a very high ceiling, and Derrick Henry can always go off.
Yes,
that's what it said.
That's what it said.
Don't be disrespectful.
Is that game number 3? Let's get game number 4. I don't know who it is, so I'm waiting for Pete to flash the little thing up, and I bet you it's me and Innes, but I need that little click to happen. Innes and Kaleli, 3 seed versus the 8 seed, 1-0 versus 0-1. Pete, give us the preview.
All right, so I mentioned this before. Well, before I get into that, Mike, you're third in the league. You're third in scoring. Jeff is 8th in the league, but he's 5th in scoring, so he did have a good performance despite losing. I'm out on the Bills. I talked about this before because of weather reasons, but I also don't like a short week in Miami. So there's a couple other reasons why I would stand behind that. That would take away Coleman, Cook for Mike. So one shot against Mike. Kamara and Madison on Jeff's team. I feel like they overperformed what they were supposed to do last week. They have tougher matchups this week. Honestly, I think bottom line is Saquon is the difference. I've been a Saquon fan since Penn State. I think you put him on Monday Night Football. You give him a larger role. He's on a new team. His O-line is nasty. I think Saquon is the difference, so I'm going to make Mike my lock.
Wow, Pete, thanks. But Case, a lot of confidence from Team Pete to my team. Do you view my roster the same? Do you think early injuries are stacking up a bit too much for me? Anything you do differently based off what I have?
Yeah, I actually am curious about some of your plays this weekend if the roster is set up, because I think you do have a flowing roster right now with some of the things you're dealing with. Nakua out. Is
organic.
Organic. Is Higgins' hamstring going to get him back in the lineup? And is that going to even help with where that offense is right now, who looked in shambles against the Patriots this past week? The Keon Coleman play, I think, is interesting because it's Thursday, and it feels like it's a little bit of a Hail Mary early in the week that you might be able to recover from. But I don't know if you have the pieces on your bench to move in and out with all these other things going on. So I almost look at Innes knows what he's going in against with the McCaffrey or Mason thing, and then everything else is pretty stacked up. So I am still taking Mike, and here's the reason why. I think with Love out, the amount of opportunities that Richardson's going to have at Green Bay to add to his point total, like I think he's going to be the highest scorer of the week and potentially the beast of the week this week. So I'm going to take Mike edging this one out behind Richardson.
So
no superlatives.
I think I locked this in yesterday as my lineup, and there's 2 problems I have. Puka, he's not playing. I know he's not playing. The Higgins questionable tag and the Bills being on Thursday night kind of put a monkey wrench in this game. I don't foresee myself playing Watson. I don't foresee myself playing Hubbard. I think if I wasn't going to have this lineup, the 2 things that I would do is, one, I actually think the more I read, Swift is actually a decent play just based on the amount he was on the field and having somebody in that game with potentially a Dunze out and Keenan impacted. God damn it. And then the other thing is my waiver pickup of Brandon Cooks. I actually could see myself subbing out both Higgins and Keon Coleman and playing Cooks.
$11 on Cooks. How
$11.
do you feel?
Yeah, I like having the number 2 stack just because I had it for a while last year, and if I need to play Dak, I like having Dak and Cooks. I could see those 2 moves making. So assume this.
Wait. I want to talk about the $11 because the 2 other bids were both 0.
I was surprised by that.
You were surprised by that. Interesting.
I thought someone was going to do 10, which is why I did 11.
Interesting. Okay, good to know.
One thing about me, I'm going to give you a little factoid. People don't know this. I never make even whole number waiver bids.
I can't read your face because everything's blurry.
I know. I'll do a 0. I'll do a 5. I will never do a 5. I'll never do a 10. I'll do 1 up or even 2 up.
Do you think $6 beats out the guys that are bidding 5? Is that sort of your strategy?
I thought someone was going to do 10. Oh, round number 10. I'll do 11.
I always do Yeah, I do. I think of 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I do 1, 2, 3 based on like how much I want them. So if you see a bid for like $19, I really wanted that person. Or like, but yeah, that's pretty much how I go.
So that's my roster. Jeff's team's just, I think, one of the more solid rosters that you'll see. My biggest concern with Innis is that Chicago's defense looked pretty good, and I really feel like Tank Dell might actually be the third option on the passing attack. So to have Dell and Stroud on the road in a Sunday night game concerns me. I just think Jeff's team, I'd be surprised if he's 0-2 and if I'm 2-0. Just based off regression to the mean, I think Jeff is the pick.
Maybe I haven't watched enough CJ Stroud, but I don't think that matters. Is CJ Stroud really that good? Like,
I don't think he's that good.
I think he's really, really good. Number one.
Hey,
and there he is.
Hi, fellas.
What's Steve?
How are
You
you?
wearing hockey pads?
Good. How are you? Look at those shoulder pads, kid.
Yeah, dude. Look at you. Bulked up.
All day, every day.
Mike can't figure out his He's
on. Oh no, he's in fade mode over there.
Steve, take your time. Get adjusted. Don't worry. We're
so
only on the second.
Jeff.
We're going for longest pod possible because Mike has camera issues.
I'll take Jeff. Steve, who are you picking, me or Jeff?
Oh,
he came in.
Still better looking than you. Look at that.
He took Innis over Kaleli, no superlatives.
Am I here?
You're here. Chat GPT took Kaleli.
Oh, that's good. At least I'm matched up with it.
This is such an old man podcast.
That's what it said. All right. Last game of the week. Barn Burner. We're excited about this one. Their rosters might stink, but they don't. Pete. Wait, we did these guys?
You got 2 more games left.
Yeah, 2 more games.
2 games left. Let's hear it. Lloyd Didarian. Go.
What kind of host going
again?
Right, well, that was a good drive by Steve. I'm still waiting for one of you to sit up and one of you to get in focus. I can't.
Did you kick him out? Did you kick him out or did he just leave? I don't know. I might have to just do a voice pod.
Jeez.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, no one knows what's going on. This one's off the rails. All right, we're talking about Lloyd and Christian. Mike, you're killing me.
I don't know what to do, man.
All right, well, Lloyd, he's the number 7 seed, but he was 5th in scoring. Christian's the number 5 seed, but he was 7th in scoring, so kind of reverse there. The big game here is Jacksonville at Cleveland, and I don't like that game. I'll tell you right now. Jacksonville is a good offense, but I don't.
Did you know you can adjust the resolution of your camera on the settings? Sorry. Good.
You gonna touch up?
I think I got
that face. Yeah. All right.
Up.
Touch up that background. Show me the fig plan. That's what I want to know. I want to see the fig. I want to feel Nirvana. All right. So I don't really like that game. I think that's going to affect Trevor Lawrence and Thomas. Those guys are both on Lloyd's team. So I don't really feel great about that. I think we're in for a lot of points on Monday Night Football. That's going to be Philadelphia at Atlanta. I think that's going to be a big game as far as scoring. That benefits Bijan Robinson, and Pitts. And I really like Jalen Hurts. I think that the floor is very, very high. I think that is what drives me thinking that I think Christian is going to win the regular season. I think Hurts shows up here, hits a 30, 40-point performance, and Christian wins it on a come-from-behind win on Monday night.
Love that. Hey, Pete, speaking of the floor being high, have you ever seen the show Floor is Lava on Netflix?
Yeah, of course. I have kids.
Let's assume you're on the show, and you have to bring 2 other people from the Fantasy Football League to win. Who do you bring?
Casey. I think he's the most athletic other than me.
Oh, God. He just made his head huge. Oh, Christ.
You're right, but it's
yeah. All right, so I'm the most athletic out of this group, which is sad. I'll start right now.
Sure. Okay, Pete. Yeah. Next, and
I'll probably take Spates. He's got a good reach. We could use him as a human ladder kind of.
You need nimbleness on that show.
Sacrificial lamb. We'll just stay on his shoulders.
Push him over and like walk across some kind of situation. No.
All right, Steve. We got you on the pod. I got 2 big cues here, Steve. Give me the. Do we have A-Chain playing tomorrow night, and do we have Ken Walker playing on Sunday? And give us a little analysis. We've been going long, so feel free to go like 15 minutes on each roster, one by one. Whatever floats your boat. Floor's yours.
I think A-Chain plays, but I don't think he's going to get a full complement.
And the same thing with Kenneth Walker. I think Charbonnet is going to see much more work against the Patriots. I agree with what Pete said. I think that Monday night game is going to be high scoring. In a pick'em league I'm in, I don't know about you guys, but I have that high score up at 52. I think that's going to be a high total point game, and that favors Christian. I think that Kellen Moore offense in Philly is going to be really, really good for what they have and the weapons that they've got. Mike, you love Saquon. I know you love him in that offense.
Hey, Steve, you said full compliment. Give me an example of a half compliment.
Well, instead of getting 20, he's going to get 10.
Oh, I thought you meant like your eyes are okay. That's what I.
You look healthy.
Yeah, like that.
No,
That's
like a full
compliment.
like a full complement of snaps. So if he was getting 50 snaps, he's going to get half.
You look healthy.
Quick turnaround too.
All right, Steve, who's your pick?
There's nothing worse than being called healthy. You go, what the hell does that mean?
I have CGD.
CGDs. Case. I'm not going to tee you up. Take it away.
So with Chase on Lloyd's bench, this now is the projected tightest match of the week at only 2 points separating these guys. If I'm Lloyd, I'm getting Chase back in. Like, even if he has a pouty week, like, I think they're going to try to make him happy in week 2, despite the contract situations. And obviously they're 0-1, so they're going to need to get it right. I don't think it's going to be enough because I think CGD is booming. Similar to Pete, I love that Monday night slot. Him having a bunch of guys in it, going head to head. It's in Philly, right? So it's the home opener for those guys, right?
Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's at Philly.
No, it's at Philly. It's
in Atlanta. You're right. It's in Philly.
Yeah, it's in Philly. It's a home opener for those guys. Return home after what they were in Brazil. Is that where they were? So I picked in CGD to boom.
Case, you look healthy.
Thank you.
Looks really relaxed.
Man, you look fed.
Darian's my lock this week. I really like Christian's roster. He's got a couple good matchups. I still don't know if Dan's put this whole thing together, and I can't tell if he knows who he's going to play. His quarterbacks stink, dude. He's going Lawrence or Caleb Williams in 2 tough matchups.
Does he think that the Lawrence Brian Thomas stack is like a good stack?
He's
Lloyd picked by Yahoo's AI as the number 1 team, and he goes 0-2. Imagine the panic going on for Lloyd.
Hey, what do you think? If I was, let's just theoretically say that I tried to give him Dak. Theoretically, what's a fair offer?
I mean, Dak's an upgrade of everything you got.
Mid-round pick.
A fourth
round pick in 2027.
I don't get why he doesn't want Dak. I talked to him on the phone for 30 minutes the other day on my ride home. We were reminiscing about stupid things. And I'm like, dude, do you want Dak? He's like, I love Dak. I was like, make me an offer. He's like, nah. I was like, what are you doing, dude? ChatGPT has Darian in this one.
Yeah, I'm aligned.
Do we all just pick Lloyd to go 0-2?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pete, you picked CGD, right?
Yep.
Well, speaking of 0-2, the Orange Crush, our last game, taking on DeVito. DeVito's team is top-loaded as someone whose head grew too fast and their body never caught up. Pete, give us the preview. DeLuca, DeVito. Steve, welcome back.
I am very intimidated. Look at those shoulders. Those things.
I'll
get eyes out of here.
Right?
What is going on with this camera?
Somebody
needs
needs to
to
remind those
he's
shoulders
so
to just
bulky.
relax.
That dude doesn't miss shoulder day.
Work it out. You ask 100 people who was quarterback and who was center. I want to know what they say.
Well, like who was quarterback and who was tackle?
All right. Steve's the number 4 seed. He's number 6 in scoring. I'm the number 10 seed. Number 10 in scoring, baby. Welcome to the dumpster. I'm gonna go with Kyler on this one. I made a quick adjustment right before the podcast. Yeah, I think the ceiling's a little bit higher, and I'm gonna have to compete with Lamar going against Vegas. I think Lamar's gonna go off. It's the home opener in Baltimore. Everyone here is bananas, so I think that it's gonna be a big game for Lamar. I don't like starting both Baltimore tight ends. I'll tell Steve right now. If I had to pick one, drum roll please, I would stick with Andrews. I don't think that likely is a long-term deal. I think that Andrews was double, if not triple covered throughout that entire game. And I think that he's got brighter games ahead of him. Games of him.
Your head looks bright.
Yeah.
You look healthy.
This game is interesting because of Tyreek Hill. A lot depends on whether or not he's arrested on his way to Thursday Night Football. So I'm going to pick Steve, and I have no superlatives left. So, Steve, I'm going to take you, though.
Steve, we haven't heard from you about your team at all. You got badmouthed a decent amount this offseason about how this pod didn't like the construction of your roster.
No.
You had a good first week. Anything to say to us? Anything to say about your team? And give us your pick.
No, my team is built on those top three. If those top three play well, I got a shot. If they don't, I'm over. It's pretty simple. I picked myself in this game. I think Pete does have a couple of tough matchups. Metcalf against Gonzalez is going to be very interesting in New England. If he's got to get DK back on track, that's a big part in his roster. And Cortland Sutton going against, was it Joey Porter Jr.? That's another tough matchup for him. So I just think my top half's a little bit better, and I agree with Pete. I think Jackson's going to go off. By the way, I know you don't love Isaiah Likely because he had that big week, but Likely and Andrews are kind of comparable to the way that Gronk and Hernandez were in New England in the early 2010s. So the question is, like, did they make Likely more of a receiver and split him out? Because that's what I've been reading.
Yeah, they don't have the
That turned out
options.
well for everybody.
Yeah, they don't have the options at wide receiver, and Likely is super talented. I'm not even going to try to fight that one. I just think that one specific game, so many people are jumping off of Andrews. It's not warranted, and I do think Andrews will be still ahead of Likely at the end of the season.
I agree. I just think he's behind Flowers. He's their default number 2 receiver, excluding Andrews. And he's going to see the targets because him and Jackson put a good they were a good match last year, and you think that's going to continue. Young guy too.
I wanted to make you an offer for Mark Andrews, but I did not want to insult your intelligence. I'll tell you right now.
Speaking of insulting someone's intelligence, Case, let's bring you into this conversation. We haven't talked about Pete's roulette play that he has to go through this week. Do you think he's got the right crew on Lazard going waiver wires to the starting lineup? A little bit of a dice roll. He liked what he saw with Rodgers. Give us your thoughts on Pete's roster and make a pick.
Yeah, Pete's going to the waiver wire, grasping at straws to make up for not having any picks in the draft and not having any talent on his roster. So
I had picks and I have talent. How dare you?
I didn't have the picks.
I actually praised Pete's roster last week. I thought it was actually a well-assembled, like, competitive group. I think I was just trying to be nice on pod number 1. Pete's team didn't score 100 points. That's bad for our league. Like, the 100-point mark is sort of like the floor of a competitive team, and he finished below that. So
I'm 7 points away. I scored 66. I scored 66
under 100. You had the biggest blowout of the week, right?
Mike scored 68 week 1 last year, and he made the playoffs.
The one thing I will say about DeVito team, I'm taking DeVito, no superlatives in this one. I'm curious if Andrews is a little bit of a decoy right now. Is he fully back or not? And Likely has been the beneficiary of that. Like, if I had to take one of those guys out, I'd probably take out Andrews and ride a little bit of the high upside in Likely. But I just don't know where DeVito goes on his bench. Does DeMarcus Robinson, that waiver wire pickup, fill in with Puka out? I think that might be his dart throw if he needs to take one. But I'm going to take Steve in this one, no superlatives.
Can I clarify first? I am not opposed. I am not opposed to starting Andrews and Likely this week. I do think that this is going to be an offensive onslaught. I think if you had to pick one, which Steve does not, but if he did, I think that Andrews is not worth giving up on yet.
No, they said that the other night that you were right, Pete. He was double and triple teams, and he was more of a decoy coming off of that accident that he had too. I don't think he was 100% healthy for game 1.
Yeah.
I don't dislike the Raiders defense as much as you guys do, apparently.
I think they're a bunch of hotheads.
Good defensive line. I think they have a good defensive line. Baltimore's defense is really good, which is one of the reasons why I'm not looking for a boom out of either one of these guys. I would argue that you're looking at potentially the 8th and 9th or 7th and 8th. These two will be in the bottom 5 each of scoring this week is my prediction based off this game. I think you'll see two teams floating around anywhere between 100 and 120. But again, I think having Tyreek and having A.J. Brown is just a tough to have. And until DeVito hits an injury bug or a couple buys, his team's going to be kicking around. I'll stay on this, and we'll sweep it for DeVito. Pete?
I got to say that the last couple Ravens opening days the team has exploded offensively. I've gone to the last 2 or 3 of them. They've gone bananas the first couple days. Now I will not be at this one because I will be at a 10-year-old's birthday party, which starts Sunday at 1:00. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Colette.
Happy birthday.
It's not Chloe's birthday? It's not your daughter's birthday?
No, it's my daughter's friend.
What
And
is
they're
that?
also getting a little extra rest this week too, Pete.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems a little selfish.
1:00 on a Sunday, Ravens opener.
That seems a little selfish.
Are they sports family?
No.
I don't think so.
Apparently.
ChatGPT took DeVito.
Thanks.
We don't have a boom for Chap.
Oh, DeVito.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna
He
need
just
it.
said we were in the bottom 5, both of us in
With
scoring.
Lamar Jackson, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, and Tony Pollard, DeVito's team has serious explosion potential in multiple games.
I'm getting ready to explode over here.
ChatGPT.
You look like it, dude. Exploded
Thank
out
you.
of that switch.
I'm just leaned
All right.
over. Relax.
Do we? Welcome back, Steve. Anything else we've done for an hour? We don't.
Steve, why don't you
Relax.
relax? Dave? Relax. Put your feet up. Just
Take-
chill. Buddy. Just
Why did your
chill.
camera keep? Why did your
Are
camera
we
keep-
done? Oh,
I'm on
we're an
my
hour.
phone.
Do
We
we have
hit the
anything
hour
else?
mark.
Are we done?
No, you're on your phone. I can't tell.
We'll
I
we'll
am.
recap our picks next week.
Anybody
Yeah.
want
I don't want to
Pete,
read them
last
off.
Nah, I'm good.
for Steve? Welcome back. For Brian, nice angle for my number 1. Good luck this week. Week 2, we'll see who comes out of the gates 2-0.